X-Men. Gary, the X-Men are bad. Some of them.
Yeah.
Some, like 2 of them are bad.
Yeah. And then Namor, who was always bad.
Yeah.
And demons, which are always bad.
I saw a rumor
but mostly just
that they were going
Cyclops.
to introduce Namor into the MCU via Black Panther 2. And there's just nothing that makes me want to see Black Panther 2 less than having Namor be in it.
It's like, I wonder how they do that.
I don't know. I don't know, man.
Cousin, I'm sick of statecraft. Substitute Black Panther. It's time to go under the sea. I always never know how they're gonna introduce Namor into shit. It was real artificial in the Justice League when they just like, let's go to the coast where Aquaman might live.
Yeah, and he just walks out of the sea or whatever. Yeah.
Hey, what's up, bros? Yeah, just
I'm insanely curious how Black Panther 2 is going to come out because
without
Chadwick
Boseman.
Do it.
Yeah, without Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah,
without the Black Panther.
Without Black Panther, and then now without Shuri, who was like one of the popular side characters because she's just, I'm so anti-vax that I don't want to make millions of dollars in a Marvel movie. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yep.
And I feel real bad for that director who did such a good job. And I think Black Panther 2 is going to have such high expectations. And like, I don't know, man, my main character died and I lost one of my best comedy set pieces. And I have to put Namor in here, says Kevin Feige. I don't know what I'm doing.
It's a lot of sabotages.
Mm-hmm.
This is real like third round Cutthroat Kitchen shit.
I bet he called Kendrick Lamar and Kendrick was like, I'm not putting a rap song in your movie if you're putting Namor in it, period. I'm sorry.
It's either Namor or Kendrick Lamar.
And I respect Kendrick in that ordeal, to be honest with
you. That would be a weird way to include Namor instead. This issue is a real classic, like putting pieces where they're supposed to go.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Issue. Like a lot of long running plots in Wovlerine and the X-Men just kind of move along in this. It's like one of those eve of the battle issues. So like nothing momentous happens. It's just like little character bits and then a couple plot changes, lots of looking at readings.
Some plans are made. Like they're gearing up for an attack. Our cover is just like the Wolverine and the X-Men plus Xavier all like running towards the viewer.
You'd think Xavier would not wear that suit sometimes when he was getting into action, like you wear like a tracksuit or something.
Tracksuit Xavier. I like this.
Yeah.
I love tracksuit Xavier.
It's not, I've worn a suit. It's not good for going up and fighting with psychic swords and shit.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like maybe that's where he gets his power from. I'm just picturing him laying in the Avengers bed, like with the tie still on, with the leg kicked up with the cast. Captain America be like, I don't know what part of that is his uniform. Don't take any of it off. It might be important.
I want to point something out real quick. On the cast page of this, they show the cast. Look at that picture of Wolverine. What's going on with that haircut? Isn't that like very funny? Isn't like a very like dorky young like Flanders-esque Wolverine?
It does. Yeah, he's kind of got so very occasionally Autumn likes my hair a certain way, as you know, it's couples
as
often,
girls are
want to do. And every once in a while, like if I'm out of gel, or if I don't want to put gel in my hair, if I don't want to style it, like I'll just go grab a brush and just brush it straight back. And my hair is very wavy, so it like turns into exactly what we're looking at with this Wolverine picture, like exactly. And every time it happens, nowadays I don't even do it when she's home anymore, but like I will walk out of the room and she'll just like, no. Like absolutely not. No. You're not going to work like that, right? And I'm like, well, no. You're absolutely not.
You fix it.
Go in there and fix it right now. Which is fine. That's women have that power. So
yeah. So we start off with so this is after AVX-10. Hope and Wolverine are hanging out. Everyone's telling Wolverine he was secretly right because the writers made him right. You know, you knew it right from the beginning. It was going to turn evil. And Hope's apologizing.
They're on the shore of Breakstone Lake.
Yeah, I didn't really notice that.
Why are we? What is that name? Why do we have?
Why is this lake a character?
Is it did it eat an X-Men team? If it didn't eat an X-Men team, it doesn't get a name. I'm sorry, that's just the way it works.
For some reason, it's the lake where they put all the dead X-Men.
Absolutely.
Like, can you imagine being the family of any of these X-Men and having the cemetery moved constantly? Like, how often has Thunderbird been exhumed?
Oh, dude, so many times. Absolutely so many times.
Just nonstop. If I were Thunderbird, I'd be like, no wonder Necrosha happened. I would be fucking haunting the shit out of these X-Men for this.
I was looking up the Wikipedia for Breakstone Lake to see if there was any lore associated with it. And the only thing I got is that the X-Men would frequently go swimming in the lake. So, yeah.
We'll have to go swim in Corpse Lake.
And then the picture they have of this is just, it's not even really of the lake. Like, the lake is not even in the picture. So that's kind of lame.
Got a case of lame lake. They're going up to the cemetery, the X-Men cemetery. You know, Hope's saying she's gonna get in the fight. She doesn't care if she dies, basically. And Wolverine says, "You're too young to be a martyr." And she looks at Jean Grey and is like, "Was Jean Grey a martyr?" You know, and they basically, you know, wax poetic about how good Jean Grey was.
Yeah. And you know, I like Hope's response to this is like, you know, maybe she was all of that, but like I am the one that you're dealing with right now.
Yeah.
And he says, "No, you're not. You know, this isn't all on you. This is we'll all be there this time. The X-Men and the Avengers." It's really weird to me because like they're at the statue of Jean Grey, like looking with the Phoenix thing, looking up. And I guess this is a different Jean Grey statue that was. Because the one in front of the school.
This is her tomb.
Yeah, but there was another one in front of the school.
This isn't the statue.
Like,
yeah, she has one for the school and then one that's a grave.
But I just like, is there a local sculptor that's like, really? Again? I mean, okay. But
you don't want the same pose? Or you want one that's more fountain, less grave? Gotcha. Okay.
Like, and you know, Xavier has gone by and been like, I need one for my private collection.
Yeah. So the idea here is now all the X-Men and Avengers have turned against the Phoenix Force and they're all together. Mm-hmm. We get into this interminable fucking scene of X-Men and Avengers reading numbers on monitors, and I'm not joking. Yeah. It's several pages of this shit. Brand is there from Sword, just kind of, negging Iron Man about his numbers being bad because part of it is magic.
Mm-hmm. Iron Fist is there because everybody knows Iron Fist is super good at computers and numbers,
scientist,
and readings,
mega
scientist. There's a lot of back and forth about the numbers not working. The numbers that Agent Brand is like kind of super against Danny Rand even being in the room. Basically, she yells at him a whole lot. And then the big quote,
which is good.
Then the big quote unquote twist is young Brood, comes up and is like, "Oh, have you tried doing this?" and taps on the screen. And there's literally a panel of 4 characters, presumably looking at a screen and just being amazed by what they see and not explaining that to anybody that would be reading the comic book. Just so like, oh wow, are those real numbers? Asked Danny Rand. Like, what are we?
It's intensely unvisual. Like, can you imagine the thankless task of being the artist asked to draw this scene?
Just like reading, constant talk about readings. And of course, now that Brood has done this, Tony Stark really likes him. So they're going to go off and do stuff. And that leaves us to, we switch over to Kitty Pryde and Bobby Drake, who were in the same room, but not a part of the numbers conversation.
Yeah. They're just ignoring this. Like, accountant, Bobby Drake, somebody who knows more about numbers than anybody. Mm-hmm. Kitty Pryde, who is also incredibly smart, ignoring this stuff. Basically batting their eyelashes at each other.
Yeah, doing a little bit of flirting. I hope you come back. Maybe I should go instead of you, that kind of thing. I had kind of totally forgotten that they were a couple at all in the comics. So this is...
It's brief.
Yeah. And it's fine. I don't really mind one way or the other. I don't ship it, Gary, is what I'm saying. I don't ship it.
No, I don't think it's a good relationship. The X-Men kids are now at the Jean Grey school, and here's something that's disappointing to me. The Cuckoos come in, and Quentin Quire is like, "Hey, ladies, if you need someone to show you the sights," and they're like, "Not if you're the last telepath on Earth, Quentin." They should be like, "You killed Esme.
You killed my sister." Yeah.
Yeah, like the way that Quentin Quire, that Jason Aaron in this book has decided, like, what if he's just real fun?
Yeah, what if he's just a normal dude?
Is kind of disappointing to me. Yeah. Like, what if he's kind of like, he's the kid you love to hate? And I'm like, that story was really good of him becoming this teenage revolutionary and there being unforeseen consequences to that. It closed down the school.
Yeah.
Like it was this momentous thing and now nobody cares. Like there's a little bit of stuff with Xavier with him that is still also played for comedy.
Mm-hmm.
of this, and it's like somebody fucking died. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah,
you know?
this was a big deal. Like you guys set some people on fire. Like I was there.
Yeah.
I remember it.
There's again some jokes about not feeding the Bamfs. They're horrible little things. Martha, the floating brain, tells Kid Apocalypse that she thinks he's cute. That happened again with Basilisk, where Martha thought he was cute as No Girl. I think it's weird that people, when this floating brain says that they think they're cute, they're like, hell yeah, floating brain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I'm not trying to be, I understand that people can form relationships that are not normative at all, but having no body at all, just being a floating brain, that feels like a bridge too far to me.
I don't know, man. She's telepathic. That's
I guess she can make you see whatever you want.
That's the world of infinite fantasies, right? Like that's the make me, I was
That's true.
I don't know what I was going to say there, but it was nothing that was about to come out of my mouth was going to be good. I don't know where I was going to go with that, but my whole brain just froze and went like, no, don't do it.
You're on mic, buddy. Stop.
We also see Dust beating Krakoa, which I don't know why that's significant, but it is. And then
it's just supposed to be cute.
Yeah.
Like this whole section, like this issue is too cute. For the stakes.
Yeah.
Iceman and Kitty Pryde are going to go on a date, and then we get Rachel and Professor Xavier speaking, talking about how we can't, just because we're the two most powerful telepaths on the planet, we're still, kind of outmatched here. And Quinn inquires, like, two most powerful telepaths on the planet, I demand a recount, trying to be a little slick kid. And Xavier schools him again in a comedy beat. The way he does it, he said, I kind of like this in theory, but I don't like it in the middle of AVX.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's like, you should have grown out of this. And Rachel's going to give him detention. And Professor X says, oh, that's what he wants, because it makes him look like a rebel. And then Xavier announces to the entire school that he's running for class president.
Yes. And Quentin responds to this by saying, I will kill you for that, old man.
Yeah. Again, low stakes. A character that was kind of serious is now just a dumb goofball.
Before we move on from Xavier and Rachel Summers,
I have a lot of things to say about this next scene, so let's definitely get it out, because this next bit is very fucking.
I just like Rachel Summers walking down the hall with like spikes on her fucking leather jacket, like. You're a teacher. Like, you're not in a combat zone. Like, you could just fall. Like, I'm not, possessing part of the Phoenix or whatever you do nowadays doesn't mean that you don't trip and fall into a student and shred them open. Like,
I hate this costume.
Yeah, it's a real bad costume.
For Rachel Summers. Yeah. And I'm going to go as far as to say a lot of the costumes in the Wolverine and the X-Men are pretty bad. Like, Deathbird looks stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Iceman's constantly wearing those weird cargo shorts.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a bad costume book. They do not look good. This next scene is, so the last time we saw Toad, he was creating skin mannequins out of Husk's discarded skin.
Mm-hmm.
In the weird mystery AVX book that we're not following, they are now dating and like each other.
Not only that, but like he has convinced her to come down into like a hole, like a cave system
in Krakoa,
to go on a date. And and she's dressed up like fucking Little Red Riding Hood, except that they were out of red dye that day.
So you're kind of like Rogue also.
Yeah.
At first I thought this was Rogue. And this is shitty Wolverine the X-Men Toad, where he's just a fat guy with a long nose. Like, he doesn't make a lot of sense. And there's this section here where they get to a part where he could climb on the ceiling and she couldn't make it. And he starts going, he's like, I'm sorry. I just wanted a place where we could be alone. Let's just go back to the janitor's closet. Like, what the fuck,
what
dude?
Are we doing here?
Let's just go fuck in the closet.
You have a room. I've seen the room.
Yeah.
I know that it's decorated with.
Well, he can't show her the room. It's full of her goddamn skin.
I think she'd be down. I think based on this, she'd be down. Like, she seems like
she almost has to be.
If you're down with Toad, like, you're down with Toad saving bits of your skin and putting it on the wall. Like, I'm just saying that. Like, it's
in for a penny, in for a pound. Like, it is. It's just, I don't understand what happened.
Again,
I don't think they showed it. Maybe because I read this comic up until it got, the first time I tried reading this comic, I jumped off once it got to AVX because I didn't want to read the whole crossover.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like, if there was tons of development with Husk falling in love with Toad, I think there might have been a hint or two, but this feels like a huge acceleration and a semiotic failure when the last thing we were signaled was him creepily making skin dolls. Maybe that was supposed to read as romantic?
Yep.
And not creepy, but if so, Jason Aaron, you are a weird fucker.
This is not,
and that does not, that doesn't work.
This does not work on actual women in the real world.
Yeah.
She, tells them, instead of, going back to the janitor's closet, why don't I just slip into something more comfortable, and peels her face off.
As appealing as that sounds.
Yeah.
To go fuck you in your squalid work hole.
Love to fuck next to a mop bucket.
Yeah. Next to the slime, the ick puddle. It just keeps getting bigger no matter how much you mop it. She rips off her skin to have the ability to walk on the ceiling, and this makes him cry.
Yes. He's very touched by this. And he covers this up by saying that he had to sprinkle some sawdust on some vomit in the lunchroom, and some might have gotten into his eye. I know this book is like supposed to be the funny book, like this is the fun, like, X-Men, wacky aliens, all of the weird little night crawlers running around, all of the Bamps. But this is like, I don't know, man, like I'm just not the target audience for this. I started reading this book and I was like, I'm just not going to read this. And now we're reading it for the podcast. And I'm like, I made a good decision. This is not something that I want to pursue.
After this shitty young Hellfire Club are coming back,
mm-hmm.
who I don't care about. None of these relationships do I like. Like, I don't ship in any of this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't generally ship, but I am okay with romantic relationships in comics. None of these make sense or work for me as a thing. And it's such a big focus of the book. One of my biggest disappointments.
Yeah.
Is this book. It's not, there are worse comics. Like, you can be worse than this. It could be like scrying pool nonsense, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just not, it doesn't feel like X-Men to me.
I think that's the big thing. Is it doesn't feel like X-Men, and it's not, like, I think it's trying so hard to be a specific kind of funny that it just loses me entirely. Like, I don't get any enjoyment out of this. And that's not to say that there's not enjoyment for other people. Like, if this works for you, then, like, fucking Yahtzee, dude. Like, there's a whole series for you.
Yeah.
For me, I just read this and I'm like, man, these jokes are just not great. Like,
it's not funny.
Yeah. Exactly. And they're
the worst thing you can do in a comedy book is not be funny.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's really, really hard reading somebody who is convinced, writing that is convinced that it's funny and not finding it funny at all. Like, that's a really bad situation to be in. So.
Which is a real full royal sampler of characters
mm-hmm.
that I don't care that much about. It feels like a little bit like they just kind of made some random X-Men on a bet.
Sure.
Like, hey, can you do a book with these characters? I suppose I can try it. We cut over to Kid Gladiator, who is in the recovery room where his dad is recovering after being beat up.
What kind of blood you putting in Gladiator?
I guess his son's blood is my guess.
I mean, like, they got two bags of something that they're like with IVs, and I'm like, what are you putting in Gladiator? I gotta know. What do you have on hand?
Maybe they're taking it out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is Brood like a fucking like universal donor? Like, what are we doing?
Good for Brood. The big dramatic thing here that happens over a couple pages is that he says, fuck this. The Phoenix is the Earth's problem. We're leaving. You no longer go to school here. He tries to fight it. There's no fighting it.
Yeah.
He has to do it. He doesn't say goodbye. He uses his X-ray vision to see his friends and just kind of whispers it and then teleports away. And then in shocking twist upon twist, Deathbird also has to stay.
Yes.
And thank God Deathbird's going to stick around because of this character.
Is it Deathbird or Warbird?
No. Warbird.
Okay.
Deathbird is the evil version of a Warbird. I do not like this character. Also, just in the shitty costume Hall of Fame.
Oh man, yeah. I expected Gladiator to be like, I'm sorry, since you've been on this planet, you've been titties out. You were not allowed back on the bird planet.
You gotta put on clothes if you want to be on the Royal Guard. We not fuck with this shit.
And he basically says, like, you know, I could tell that your heart is not the heart of a warbird. Like, you know, I wish you the best and trying to find what you're looking for here. And we had that old issue with, you know, she's actually likes to draw and not kill babies, but she was, you know, made herself kill babies and not draw. So I can't wait to learn more of that.
Yep, I like a 6-issue arc where she teaches art class.
Mm-hmm.
We cut over to Iceman meeting with Wolverine, and he's begging for his job back. He's like, "Hey, you know, yell at me if you want. You know, you were right, I was wrong." And Wolverine basically says, like, this isn't a dictatorship. I put together a team of people who I knew would tell me when I was full of crap. That's what you did. So you're fine. You know, cute little scene. There's a little comedy button at the end that doesn't work. Like, is not funny to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
making fun of the outfit.
Yeah. I just, you know, he's basically says like, he's like, yo, keep it up. Keep telling me when I'm wrong. And he's like, okay, well, you're gone too often to be a good headmaster, which that's fine. You stab people too much. You make me drink things and you still wear a blue and yellow costume. And it's like, I don't know, Iceman.
Also,
irritating.
I'm not colorblind that I know of. It's never come up before. That is a black and yellow costume.
There's no blue.
Yeah, just saying, that is a black and yellow costume.
Yeah, thank you for affirming my my take on it. We cut over to Edie and Hope having a talk, kind of girls talk, eating big, weird, slimy ice cream cones.
Yeah. Don't you like your ice cream cones halfway melted so that they're just dripping all over your hand?
Ugh. Yeah. Nightmare.
This is another one of those situations where they don't, you could just tell, like, Hope is written so inconsistently. And like, just from an age perspective, we've called this out before, where she seems like she's super powerful and super old and like an actual woman. And like here, she's very much a teenager again, which is what she is. Like, canonically, she is a teenager. And like, this relationship with Edie, I think should be a little bit more interesting, but it just kind of devolves into, is Brood a good kisser? Because Edie was like one of the 5 mutants that Hope like basically resurrected, which made everybody think that she was the savior of the mutant race, and Edie was the one that like rejected all of this, and she's like, no, I'm Christian. Like, I don't know what the fuck any of this is. I'm out. And she was the one that started the whole schism thing. And like, what you mentioned this earlier with Quentin and the Cuckoos. Like, again, just like, we're just going to play this for laughs. Like, and I'm like, nah, we're in a serious, this is like, and maybe this is just a result of being in the zone for the crossover, but like this whole conversation, I'm like, you're going to talk about the real stuff? Like, the real stuff is real.
One of the worst things I think that can happen in any kind of consistency for like a big event like this is like tonal inconsistency. And that's what we're dealing with here. Like the book on a whole, because it has so many different authors, it's trying to convince us of the stakes, and the fact that it's successful at that sometimes is fucking it over. Right? Like, I'm convinced of the stakes. I'm convinced of how serious this is. I don't like how it got there, but I'm convinced of that. So when you do this, like, is Brood a good kisser, teen drama, like who's hooking up with who, Husk is fucking the janitor stuff, it just doesn't, it doesn't feel like a breather episode, you know, which is what you would want. Like, I've read a bunch of comics where it's like the tense night before the battle, you know, and that's a cool moment.
Yeah.
That's something the X-Men do pretty well. And they've done that several times. This isn't that. This feels like Jason Aaron being like, I want to get back to my teenage relationship dramas.
My wacky adventures at the Wolverine school. Like, you know, this school that's like
the tiny little bamfs. And,
I want to go through all of this weird stuff that I've been doing. But instead I have to write Hope for a little while, and I'm not any good at writing Hope, says Jason Aaron. From here we jump over to Angel, who thinks that he is being expelled, except he's not actually being expelled. He is graduated. They say that he is, knows maybe more than some of the teachers, and he is going to be the first graduate. He thinks he's in trouble for flying around naked. And when he finds out that he is going to graduate, he strips all of his clothes off and goes to fly around naked.
Naked. Yeah, just hanging dong over the institute.
Why not, dude?
And again, I can put my mind in the mindset of somebody who's just like, this is funny and awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't feel it.
Yeah.
He's still going to stick around. He's going to be kind of a teacher. A moment I do like is Xavier being like, Henry, it's time, we got to go. And he was just staring at a picture of the old X-Men.
Yeah.
And their yellow costumes. I like that.
Is that picture weird? Does it look weird to you? Like, I don't know. I'm not saying it's like CGI.
It's a cover that they've put on. Yeah. It's computer stuff.
Yeah. I didn't want to say like it's CGI'd in because I think that sounds ridiculous, but it just looks, it just looks awkward.
Yeah. It's like a Photoshop thing where you put a surface, put a picture on a surface of something.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's very, very computer digital. So the X-Men walk off. They're going to go into the fight. The students watch them. Kid Gladiator looks on from space. Next issue, Hellfire. The little tiny kid villains from the first arc are back, baby. And we can stop reading this comic.
The next one is on the list.
Yeah. Oh, is it really?
And I'll open it up and like look, but I like just based on the cover alone of like a dead Sentinel and like Wolverine collapsed and thing. Like I can't imagine. Like, I mean, I guess I could just look right now. Does it have the logo on it? It has the
we'll check.
It has the AVX logo, Gary. I regret to inform you.
Well, it's okay. I regret to inform you that Milkshake Duck is.
God damn it.
Yeah. So we can talk about how much the Little Hellfire Club sucks.
God, do they suck?
Yeah. And again, like I understand they're popular. It doesn't work for me. So kind of a disappointing week. But I'm glad that it is almost over.
Me too.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
That's it.
Gonna end the show now.
We don't want to talk about this comic book anymore.
Yeah, I got distracted because I got a pee.
Oh, okay. Let's say real quick, since we are approaching the end of the series, hit us up with your feedback for anything that we've been talking about, AVX, MCU, just general questions to me and Gary. If you want to find out how long Gary can hold his pee for without hurting himself, send all of that stuff in, daysoffuturecast.com. There's a contact page there, or DM us on Twitter. Patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv to support the network. That's super cool to do. Also, ratings and reviews on the service of your choice. Telling your friends, also cool. Gary, you holding in? Good?
Yeah, no, it's in. I don't want my body to resorb it though. So,
oh gosh, yeah, we're about to be in
that's a real bad
reabsorption situation.
Where like you have to pee and all of a sudden you don't have to pee,
and you're like, where did it go?
Feeling.
That's not good. I'm 40. I can't.
That ain't good. That ain't good. So go pee when you can, everybody.
Yeah, don't abuse your liver. We love you, and we'll see you in a couple of days with more X-Men.